Hello and welcome to the SideQuest podcast. You're here with your host, Ben.
And your other host, Ollie.
And we are here for episode 14. Is this 14? I think this is 14.
I think so.
This is episode 14. And in this episode, we are going to have a bit of a Dadhammer takeover. So if you're a dad and you're into Warhammer, this is the episode for you. So over the last sort of few, we've kind of mentioned, obviously, we're both dads. It's something that we've kind of got in common with a lot of our listenership as well. I think, was it something like 70% of our listeners are aged between sort of 24 and 44,
45.
so it's 45.
I think so, yeah.
So, you know, a huge chunk of our demographic is of kind of dad age. And I think we all have fairly shared experiences, I would say, based on the comments that we've had. Would you agree?
I think so. Yeah, we've had a few comments over the last few days. So, like, whether you're a dad, expecting soon to be a dad, thinking about being dad, not a dad, you bastards. Then you know, then we can talk about how like that's changed and affected how we have to hobby or how we do hobby and other various things in life. This might be a bit of an emotional episode, I think.
Yeah,
I'm only 9 months into the journey.
We might end up crying.
I might cry and just leave. Yeah, to be honest. So yes, how have you been, Ben? How's things over there?
All good. I've got loads of hobby done. I know, like obviously, as we normally do. Should we start off?
Let's just do it now. We're naturally moving into it. So what have you been up to?
Into it. I've almost finished my Rohan Royal Guard. So I think by the time this goes out, I will have my 10 Rohan Royal Guard on horses pretty much done. Which is, I know. I feel like when did I start doing this sort of 15 minutes a day?
Start of the year,
beginning of the year, yeah. So it's kind of been a couple of weeks, and every day I've done like a tiny little bit of hobby. And like some days it has literally been come out, do 15 minutes, and then kind of go back in or go to bed. But then like a couple of nights, I intended to do like 15 minutes, and then been out for like 2 hours, and I've got loads done, and I'm like over the moon because these have been like hanging over my head for so long. I think I got most of them 20. When was COVID? 2020. Yeah. So I bought most of these in like 2019. So they've been like hanging around 4 or 5 years now. So it's nice to actually sort of finally get them painted and ready for March when we take over Bristol.
Yeah, the Bristol Defence of the Last Alliance North, whatever it's called.
Yeah. Defence of North Bristol, I think it's called. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, I'm pretty much there. And something I'm really excited about. It's really sad actually, but I think last episode, I think it was, I was whinging that I was really, really cold because it had been really cold here.
Yeah.
I bought something that has made like the biggest difference to my shed that anything else that I've done. Like, I've insulated it and everything like that. I've got like a curtain for my door, but it's like a really, really thick curtain, and it's like got a magnet down the middle. So like rather than just being like a curtain that just hangs in front of it, it like magnetifies itself. What's the word?
Magnets it.
Magnets itself closed, and like literally, I can have my heater on in here now. And literally, I come in the following day, and it's still warm in here. It's amazing. It's made like the world of difference. So all of a sudden now, I'm quite happy being in here again, even when it's cold. So I walked in.
We'll just need more magnetifying.
Magnetifying. So if you're like the stereotypical British man in a shed, honestly, invest in like one of these magnetic. And I've not got an affiliate or anything. Shall I stick up an affiliate in?
Go on, yeah.
In the description,
Get a bit link and then we'll tell them.
Yeah, so people can go and buy their own magnetified curtains for their shed. But yeah, honestly, it's like the thing that's made the biggest difference to the temperature in this
you were
shed.
in like 3 coats. And a hat
exactly. I'm like, look now. I've not even got like a woolly hat on. Like, I'm just covering my bald head with this now.
Yeah, bald head protection.
Yeah, I don't need that. I'm actually like sweating a little bit as well.
Welcome to Dadhammer.
Yeah, balding, getting old, cold.
I've got a King Broad Gargant thing here. Look, that's classic dad bod.
That is classic dad bod, isn't it?
That's me now.
It's got some slight man boobs going on there and things like.
Been growing them for 9 months.
So how about you? What have you been up to over the last week? I don't think I've done
Uh,
anything else. I think that's pretty much it. That's the excitement of my week. Is
you got a
putting my
curtain,
curtain up.
you sad bastard.
Oh
What have
man.
I done? I've done nothing. Have I done anything of any importance?
Yeah.
No, just kept the
You,
shop alive, really. And
yeah, you've been a bit poorly at times this
I've been,
week, haven't
yeah, I've
you?
been really
Like,
ill. I'm currently like on the back end of a kidney stone right now as well. So we
oh.
cancelled yesterday because kidney stone. I was basically in the fetal position, sort of. Do you know like Homer Simpson when he runs round and round and round on the floor?
Yeah.
It's that because like nothing makes a kidney stone like comfortable. So like all you end up doing is just wiggling. I often think of myself just running around like that, but sort of in the
Oh
fetal way.
man.
So we're on the back end of that now. So we're on a few Zapane painkillers now,
So
just to
so obviously we don't
keep it
have
alive.
any women listening to this, but
Yeah,
do you think that a kidney stone is worse than giving birth?
obviously.
Yeah,
It's pretty bad,
definitely.
right? It's pretty bad, you know. I
Yeah.
think, but I don't know. Probably having a baby is probably worse, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah, yeah. Luckily,
Like,
I've never had a kidney stone, so I can't relate. But
yeah, you got lucky. You got the
I
diabetes.
just got diabetes. Yeah.
Welcome to Dadhammer.
Yeah, just listing our ailments and what drugs we're on.
Yeah, Zapane.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Forxiga, metformin. Yeah.
Warfarin. Keep that blood fit.
Warfarin. Yeah.
So have I done
Sertraline.
anything? No, actually, stop naming them all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god, we're sad.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
have I done anything? I've kept the shop alive this week. I've almost finished a video. I've had that bloody video for a month now. You know,
I'm
like
sure about 2 weeks ago you did promise that there'd be a video out, and I think it was this video that you promised, and it was this one, wasn't it?
yeah. So basically, what's happening is I've had it there for it was all filmed in like one go, really. Like a couple of bullshit takey bits and that, but all done. And I've had it mostly edited. But I've had that thing where I've got like multiple options, and I've had like decision paralysis. And then it's been there so long, I've watched them all for ages. I've just like lost sight of it, and it's a really easy like edit, really, for things I would normally do. But I've just gotten so stuck because it involves Kira as well with a bit of voiceover, and like then I always feel like I have to like get a bit of advice and what sort of things she wants to put forward with herself. Do you know what I mean? So it becomes more than just me editing on my own and clicking in the corner.
Right.
So
It gets like that with videos, doesn't it? Like you do get kind of really tunnel visioned in a video, and it's like a really easy, like magnets. I had I had all of that
got it about a
filmed
year.
for about a year, like literally, and it was just like I just can't bring myself to edit it, and the more I look, I'd sit down to like do a bit of editing on it. It's just like I just can't bring myself to
I think
do this.
the
Do you know
longer
what I
we
mean?
sit on them, the worse it is. Honestly,
Yeah,
like,
it is.
and if I just film, get it done in a week or two, done. Right, but if I sit on it for ages and get that finished, it stays on the brain. Right,
You
it's just a
overthink
little
it a
niggly
little bit,
thing.
don't you?
Absolutely, yeah. I'm doing a video about spray cans. Like, do you know what I mean? It's not
It's yeah.
like it's not groundbreaking. It's just like here's what they look like, done. But instead, I'm like, okay, I must get this and messing about. So I've actually made a decision on that tonight and just deleted a load of it and gone, right, there we go. So now that's
nice.
when this video is probably done, I'll probably finish the script because I don't tend to do voiceovers at like 1 a.m. because there's no point. I sound tired.
You sound tired, don't you?
Yeah. The next morning, I'm like, that sounds awful. So I'm just going to script it instead, roughly, and then leave it there and finish it tomorrow. And I'll have it done tomorrow. So I get that done. Then I've got a video I've been filming and printing for Loot Studios. That will actually be going live probably when this video, after this video goes out, for a game called Malediction. It's like what do they call it? MCG, a miniature card game, which I thought was quite clever. I quite like that as an idea. It's basically like Magic crossed with Warhammer, and
That's cool.
You have like a deck of cards, but you like can cast spells and you like cast creatures down, and you can either use like little pop-ups, or if you prefer models, you can like 3D print them all because that's what Loot Studios do, right?
Yeah.
Interesting concept. Really quite like it. A fun little world. I imagine it'll do pretty well at GameFan. They've got about like 11,000 people on the notification list already, so I suspect.
Oh wow.
Loot Studios has been going for years, right? So
yeah, they have. Well.
Yeah. So I've been doing that. So really, it's just been those two, and then I've been trying to sort out mortgage stuff and banks and accounts.
Yeah,
and
that's exciting stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been that kind of week, really. So just a big admin week, and then but when this episode actually goes live, I'll be in the UK again, getting ready to record a couple of days at the studio for another little recording session for the old band.
Excellent. I'm excited. Fun. I'm excited for you for that.
Nice, yeah.
Like I've your is it 3 songs you've got up on?
3 on there so far. Yeah, we've got one more to go, and then we're doing 3 more in the studio. Or finishing 3 more.
So obviously we're going off topic here, but what the song's called? We Are Your Heroes. Game Over.
And This Is the Life.
This Is the Life. Yeah. So yeah, they're in my Spotify list. I do give them a listen when I'm in the
Nice.
gym and stuff. So
It's
yeah,
like proper circa 2005 like
yeah,
rock music, isn't it? Really. So
yeah,
for all those Dadhammer listeners,
yeah,
go check out Token of My Affection. We decided to keep the name as it was because that's
yeah.
Funeral for a Friend and My Chemical Romance, isn't it? It's that way. So that'll be doing that next week. So that's exciting. First couple of days away from the baby. Actually, it was a bit terrifying.
Oh yeah, it will be, won't it?
Yeah. So yeah, kind of an odd week of just
Poor
stuff.
Kira. I can't believe you're abandoning Kira. Poor
I
Kira
wouldn't.
for a few days. I
3
hope you
nights,
feel.
man.
I hope you feel guilty.
I feel very guilty. I wouldn't want to do it. I'm telling you. Do you know what I mean? Oh,
Yeah.
Jeez, Rick. So that's what we've been up to. Busy.
Yeah.
Benji, have you got any sponsors for this week? Wait,
No.
hold on. I'll sponsor it. Go on.
You're going to sponsor it. Okay,
yeah, you can read this.
Okay.
You can read this.
Okay,
Go on.
we do have we did have somebody kind of reach out, so I think we
did
can have
actually.
a little bit of a chat with them, and see what we can potentially do.
We had a first sponsor offer, didn't we?
Sort of. Yeah, so we need to have a kind of a bit of a chat and see what we can do about that. But seeing as we don't have a sponsor for this episode, Ollie, do you have any sponsors?
I think we do. I think this episode, we're sponsored by Broadsword Wargaming.
Again?
Yeah, they've been great. No affiliation, obviously, to myself. My channel's called Broadsword Wargaming. Just a coincidence. No, it's not true. I can't lie on the internet. I don't know. Probably get told off. It is me. I'll sponsor us with my shop based in the EU, where you can get all of your hobby goods and needs and wants and desires and dreams, the place dreams are made of. In the EU, we do free shipping over €100 in Ireland. And we do very cheap, affordable shipping around Europe as well. So come and get all your cheap hobby goods from us. And
I think shipping's about €8 to Germany, something like that, is it?
That's about right.
Like
$8.16 or something, from Germany.
Yeah,
you know the deal.
It's very reasonable, I'd say, and there's a great assortment of hobby products there as well. So sounds like an amazing shop, and some really nice people run it as well.
The perfect place to go leave a Trustpilot, review and
a
all that kind of
TripAdvisor.
Stuff. Wait, I have to say we had our first 4-star review.
Why?
I've had 135 5 stars or something. I had my first 4-star today.
Because why? What did they say?
I shipped something to America in a timely fashion. All of the products were fine, but the people didn't like UPS.
Oh,
so that's my fault, I think.
Yes, that's your fault. You should have done better.
Yeah. So
do better next time.
My first 4-star review. It kind of hurts. I knew it was going to come one day. I'll take it. It makes us look more real, though, doesn't it? Less like AI
it does. It's not just me kind of leaving comment after comment after comment for you.
You want like 4.7 is pretty good, right? 4.8 out of 5. That's what you want.
Yeah, that looks pretty trustworthy.
Thanks so much for dragging me down to 4.9, bastard. Yeah. If you're listening as well.
If you're listening, thanks. Thanks. So before we move on, we've had some really kind of nice comments. We've missed out on the comments over the last couple. I think we got out of our stride a little bit with it being Christmas and things, but we're back into it now. So I just want to read out a few of the comments that we've kind of been left on the last episode. So if you weren't listening, it was the last episode was about is Warhammer difficult to get into, and what are some of the sort of issues that you face, kind of what are the barriers to entry. And Goffson 2330 said, finding people to play with is important. A new friendly local gaming store has built a real community, and we're all excited to start a Necromunda campaign. Quite a few playing Kill Team, and I'm always bringing along multiple spearheads to help intro people in. That community element has really reignited my love of the hobby. And I think, that kind of reaffirms what we were saying. You've got to kind of build that community yourself. If there isn't a community there, you've got to do stuff about it. Bring people in for games, give people demo games, have both sides of an army painted, and give people demos, and put it out there as well. If they've got a Facebook page or something, say, I'm going to do a demo game. Does anybody want to come down and play? So that was a really kind of positive one. We're also talking about kind of some of the issues around hobbying, and I think we'll talk about it today, but time issues. But one comment from the great Kamikaze: I think to tackle the time issue, it helps to have any bit of prep you can have ahead, whether it be prime models, a dedicated space or kit, and a planned color scheme. It also helps to play a quicker game system if that's all the time you have for it. And I think that absolutely, if you've got stuff there that's good to go, you can just pick up your paints and run with it. You're going to be a lot more efficient with your time. If you've got to spend, like you said, 10, 15 minutes setting up before you can start painting or building or whatever, that's going to really eat into any time that you do have. Yeah. And it's it's one of those that if you've got sort of an hour or so, you think, oh, I'm going to have to spend 15, 20 minutes setting up and then another 15, 20 minutes packing down. Is it even worth it for half an hour hobby in the middle?
Yeah, it's not. No.
So very, very valid point there. And we had, and I think this one's quite it's fitting for this week's topic.
It's relevant, isn't it?
Yeah, it's relevant. That's the word I was looking for. Relevant. Thank you. Saved me there. And it's from Albert from Microforge Mini. He sent me a message on Instagram, said, "Hey legend, just want to say I've been really enjoying the podcast. You and Ollie have great banter, and it's just so relatable seeing other dads struggle with finding the time to hobby." Now he gets way more done than I do. He's always kind of building stuff. He's made some like elven terrain and things, which looks absolutely fantastic. Go and check out his channel. Should we put a link down in the description?
Why not? Go on.
Yeah, let's do it. But yeah, make sure you go and check him out. But he's a lovely guy. He eats some incredible like slice and slot stuff if you're into Middle Earth. So it's like printable resin bits for putting like doorways and windows and things for putting into foam ruins. Absolutely fantastic product. So I think they're on My Mini Factory. I think they are. But we'll put a link to Albert down in the description anyway. So go and check him out.
I know Lachlan from Zorbzob used this stuff, right?
Yes. I think they may have collaborated. I think they built some Ammonhen ruins, I want to say.
Something like that, yeah. I fancy giving that a go because I don't mind I practice using foam a bit. Like you actually bought a load of foam and shipped it over to me. Do you remember or something? Was that right?
Yeah,
I couldn't get it here in the EU. And but I'm shit at like carving doors and windows. So like having something I can just slide in that all look the same and I like sculpt it is good, isn't it? So yeah, I'm keen to try that out myself actually. Now I've got the
definitely. So yeah, it's a good product. So I like it very, very much. So should we jump into this week's topic, which is Dadhammer? And I have a little announcement.
Oh yeah,
I've got another one on the way.
Another baby.
So I'm going to
spend my friend.
So I'm going to be spending the next half an hour whinging about the child that I have. And I've got another one on the way in June. So we've kind of yet to discuss the logistics of how that's going to work. But it's something. No, I am genuinely happy about it. It's probably happened a little bit sooner than we had intended. But yeah, we've got another one on the way in June. So very, very exciting times.
Actually, it's great that you've got that magnetic curtain now because you can go live in the shed. So
well, we're going to need the space somewhere.
That's great news, man, isn't it? Really?
Yeah,
I'm not going to pretend I didn't know, but you know.
You may have known a little bit earlier than some people, but yeah, I've got another one on the way. So it was quite sort of fitting to do this episode.
I think so. Do you know it's a girl or a boy? Do you know that?
We don't know yet. So we've got we've not long ago had the 12-week scan, so just before Christmas, and then. Is it 20 weeks? I think we have the scan to see if it's a boy or a girl. So yeah, I'm excited to find out. My wife really wants a girl, so we've got one of each. But we'll see what happens. Like, not really got much control over it, really. So
not really now.
No. It's kind of happened now. So
eat 27 eggs and 3 oranges and something, and that makes it a boy.
Stand on your head and twirl around 3 times, and so yeah, there is that. So that's
exciting, isn't it?
That is quite exciting, yeah. So yeah,
and mildly terrifying. Let's be honest.
Yeah, mildly terrifying. I'm not gonna lie. When my wife told me, I was a bit like, it wasn't that I was not excited. It was I was a bit like, it's happened a lot sooner than I thought it was going to. But
that's okay.
It is. Yeah, exactly.
It's just hard to find the ways to adapt, isn't it? And the different things.
It is, and you've got. So should we talk about kind of our current experiences
Yeah,
as dads? Do you want to go first?
yeah. Go on then. So I have I've got Anders, he'll be 10 months in what, like 5 days. He'll be 10 months in 5 days time. So he was born back in March last year. We found out really early in July, the year before. Was it July? No, or August, whatever it was, something like that. Really early on. And yeah, that was not a shock. It was do you know, like you always see these things like finding out my baby reveal and all these things. And I think Kira had like, like plans to make it a nice thing to like find out, right?
Yeah.
But it's the most like unexciting. Is that the word I'm looking for? I don't know. Anticlimactic story. Basically, we were both at work on a Saturday, and Kira just came. She's like, "Oh, I need to tell you something out back." I was like, "Oh shit!" I was like, "I bet she's like wrecked a load of stock or like stood on something or like." Do you know what I mean? I was like, "You're gonna whatever." Like, I've got something. I need to come back. I've got to show you something quick. I was like, "Okay," like spilt coffee on something or put spaghetti up a load of miniatures. I went back and she just showed me the test. I was like, "Oh," I was like, and then literally, then like 2 seconds later, someone was like, can I help in here a minute? It's just like on the till, like selling single magic cards. I literally had like 20 magic cards to go through, trying to find them on Card Market, being like, just found out I'm going to be a dad. Just found out I'm going to be a dad. And it was just like a really busy Saturday with like an event on upstairs as well. It's like, oh, we just finished. I've got a question about 40k. And I was like, oh, God, like.
Yeah, I've got more important things on my mind right now. Could Kira not have just waited till the end of the day so he had a little bit of like,
I think she was just like, oh, I just need to like say it. Do you know what I mean? So, which is fair enough because I couldn't hold it in probably. So
yeah.
So that was that. But then, and actually, we did want to know if it was going to be a girl or boy. What his gender was going to be or sex was going to be. And but I think at his 12-week scan, it was too obvious. They were just
really?
Yeah, she was like, oh, did you see that? I was like, yeah, I saw.
Yeah. I think at 12 weeks they probably can have a very, very educated guess at it, but
just the angle of him was it's like, oh well, it's a bit obvious what that is. She's like, did you see that? I was like, yeah. She goes, it's a boy. I was like, do you want to know? I was like, well, I do now. Yeah, like, I already know it's a boy. Yeah.
Wait, did you have like anything in mind? Did you like want a boy or a girl or what was?
So we have an 11-year-old girl in the house as well, so a stepchild of mine, and so I think we wanted a girl because we were like, okay, we've kind of done that, like, so we understand that process. And I was like, I've not dealt with a boy before, and like you see all these things about like having to like do the nappy because you get pee everywhere and stuff, and I was like, oh, it's gonna be a disaster. So actually when they said, oh, it's a boy, I went, oh God, like that. And I was like, that was my reaction in the scan room. I was like, oh no, or something. I was like, oh wait, no, it doesn't matter. Actually now we've got a boy, I'm quite happy about it. It's a different experience, isn't it? So
it is,
so yeah, but I think we did want a girl, but now I'm kind of glad I got a boy because he's
a lad.
He's my lad, isn't he?
Proper lad.
Yeah, a little lad. So it's that's kind of the setup here, and just grinding on away now, day by day. Still feel very much like I'm in the middle of it though. Do you know what I mean? Like we're still big transitions, big changes most days. A couple of days are good, a couple of days are bad, whilst he learns to go buh again or whatever like noise he's making. Or all through the night, stuff like that.
They go through that like sleep regression of like, oh, he's going to come out with something really cool now, and they just learn to go, or something like that.
He does go like that, like just weird shit things they come up with. You're like, oh, great, 3 days of no sleep, and then just when you're ready to like, end it all, they're like, oh yeah, he has a normal sleep then, and you're like, okay, thanks, buddy. And then it shows you his shit skill. So, but it's great, it's funny because it does change so much. I feel like this last couple of days for me have been really nice. Like I feel like I really enjoyed my time with them a little bit more than I have done in some of the previous like regressions or iterations of whatever he's learned. But it constantly changes. What about you? What's your setup then? Go on.
So yeah, we've got one little boy. He was 2 in September, so he's kind of getting on for however many months that is now.
He stopped doing a month after
like 2. Yeah.
So, anyone says like it's 38 months. I'm like,
he's 2.
You mean 3?
He's 2 essentially.
Like, you know what I mean?
But yeah, no, he's a cool little lad. He definitely keeps us on our toes. He's mad into dinosaurs. So we've got we've got him some like dinosaur encyclopedias and things for Christmas, and like literally, you're going through like, you know, it's way more advanced than a 2-year-old should be like reading. Like you obviously clearly can't read it, but like you go through the whole, that's an Edmontosaurus and that's a Myosaurus, and he's like picked up loads of names of all these dinosaurs and things, and it's just amazing. Like he goes into nursery now, and they're like, "What? How does he know all these dinosaur names?" It's like, oh, you just go. That's all we do when we're at home is go through the dinosaur book, pretty much. So
he'll still shit in his hand, but he can name Edmontosaurus.
yeah, he'll still pee on the floor if he hasn't got a nappy on, but he knows what an Edmontosaurus is. So yeah, but he's definitely keeping us on our toes at the moment and things. And at the moment, it is going to bed is like the biggest challenge at the moment. He stays awake for ages after he's gone to bed. So like literally you'd be trying to put him to sleep and it takes like an hour, and then you have to sort of sit in bed with him and wait for him to fall asleep before you can leave the room. And yeah, it's we were going to record a little bit earlier, but we both had kind of child issues, didn't we?
I literally turned on the app to like start recording and just ran away.
And then like, and I know we've said it before, but like we tend to have to record these pretty late on because it's by the time you've had like dinner, put the kids to bed, you know, done bath time, bedtime. You know, it's late on, isn't it? And like it's always after Lucy's gone to bed that I tend to sort of come out here and record. So it's like, no, what time did we start recording? About 10:30, something like that.
Yeah, it's 11 now. Yeah, so yeah. It's that's fine. I think, you know, just to swing it back a little bit to like hobby and stuff. You know, I do find like the only time, not even just like painting or Warhammer or miniatures or anything, but the only time I get like to myself sort of, is for me is like after 10-15, after like all the bedtime routines and everything's done, you know. So it's like, okay, 10-15, if I want to like do something, I pay the price the next day by staying up. But like, do you know what, if Skyrim's calling for 15 minutes and I need to walk around Whiterun listening to nice music, then I'll just
exactly do you know what, don't you just feel that I think we've discussed it before, but like you've got those comfort games, haven't you? Like, you know, when you're feeling like a bit, you just want to go out and like smash stuff with an axe or like, you know, wander around the capital wasteland or something in Fallout. You know, you know, Fallout and Skyrim are my comfort games. I can just go into those and I can just pick up the character, you know, whichever character that I've been sort of building and things, and just wander around, just enjoying life. So. Do you know what I mean? It's nice being able to do that, and it's just nice sort of to be able to switch off. But you know, as you said, when I do sort of get that top 10-15 minutes, which is what I've been trying to do every day, is just like do a little bit every day, chip away. It's always from at least 9:30 onwards. You know, it's very rare that I kind of get any time earlier than that. And like, I think, you know, in prior to having a child, you know, I think you know, weekend for me was like, oh, you know, I can spend 4 hours painting on a Saturday afternoon or something if I want to. Do you know what I mean? Whereas now, like, weekends are the time that I find that I've got least time to do anything because it's just full on. And obviously, you've got the shop, so you tend to work weekends as well. But you know, even when I'm not working, it's like it's just a full on weekend, and you know, you sort of think, oh, I've got no time to myself. But don't get me wrong, I really enjoy spending time with my lad. You know, take him to the park, and you know, he loves going on his scooter, so we take him to the park and let him play on the scooter. We've had a bit of snow here over the last couple of weekends, so taking him out playing in the snow and things, and that has been like amazing. I've really like enjoyed doing that with him. So I never feel like I personally don't feel like I'm missing out by spending time with my son, if that makes sense. And I think a lot of dads would feel the same way. Like, don't get me wrong, I wish I had more time, but I don't ever feel aggrieved that I've like lost time by spending it with my son, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I do. So like I don't know. I feel like for people who have kids out there, or you know, dads, stepdads, whatever, who have kids out there, I feel like you'll already have all how you feel about it, right? But for people who haven't got kids or have kids on the way or have that like apprehension or that like fear, right? It feels like such a big shift. Now I've done it in kind of two ways. So we had like a slightly older stepkid when I moved over. So I feel like it wasn't just a transition from like 0 to 100, right? It was like 0 to 50, 50 to 100. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like 2 steps. So it's not been like an absolute shocker having a baby now. It has been more of a shock than I thought it would be. Not shock, but like more of a life adjustment than I thought it would be. But like already, like Lily was like 4 or whatever when I came here. It's not like I could just leave on her own. So that side of life hasn't changed, like having a responsibility. to something other than like myself or my partner or whatever. Do you know what I mean? I don't mean in a
Yeah.
selfish way, but like I've had to be responsible for Lily, and then now a
But
baby. That's the
I,
same, but it's different now, isn't it? Again,
I
like
suppose like Lily, from the age of 4, when they're younger, you kind of have to give them a little bit more attention and spend time with them. And I suppose, how old's Lily now? 11, 12?
yeah, 11 now, yeah.
So I suppose at that age they are a little bit more self-reliant. So you've probably kind of been weaned off it a little bit over
Yeah,
the
I
years.
feel like we just reset the clock. Like, bang, there you go.
Yeah,
Screw
absolutely.
you. You just started to get the odd Friday night, where someone can come in and babysit, or you can go to the shops for an hour and be like, right,
Yeah.
or half an hour. Do you know what I mean? Whatever. Like, we have like a absolutely. We don't just bugger off, but do you know what I mean? Like, you can go.
Yes.
We can
Yeah.
walk to
Yeah.
the shop for 20 minutes and be like, okay, don't like mess with any knives, just whatever. Like,
Yeah.
So we got to that point, and that's gone again now. But it's different, and it's replacing. I think it's been a real journey for me, to be honest. From finding out to having the baby to now, I think I've gone through like many. I want to say a myriad. Is that the word I'm looking for? Of emotions. Have I gone through a lot of things, but highs and lows, and expectations that I thought, like things you think people expect of you, and then also how I thought I would feel about stuff to how I do or how I didn't feel about things for a while. All of those things are quite difficult. So I don't want to like. I always wish someone had said to me like all these things and just said like the true stuff. Do you know what I mean? I don't mean bad stuff, just true stuff. Because I feel like most people just like don't. And the reality is like it's hard. It's the hardest thing I've done. I think it's relentless. It's the hardest. Now, good, of course, in the end result, like, but the journey is not always easy, right? Like, not on
I think
us.
I think before Ethan arrived, and I remember having a chat with one of my really good mates about it, and he was like, "Oh, you're going to keep doing the YouTube once Ethan arrives." I was like, "Yeah, I just do it in the evenings, like anyway, and I don't see how it'll kind of change the time that I spend doing it anyway." But the difference is, like previously, like I'd finish work and then like I'd be able to sit around for a bit and like do a bit of tidying, or make a bit of dinner and then have a bit of a chill, spend a bit of time with Lucy. And like, whereas now, and then I can sort of like go and hobby from like, I don't know, 7:30, 8:00, and I can hobby till, I don't know, midnight, 1:00, 2:00 in the morning. And if I'm a bit groggy the next day, it's not the end of the world. I
Sleep
can
in a bit.
sleep in a little bit longer. Kind of stay in bed till sort of 7:30, 8:00 or whatever. But now it's it kind of it dawned on me sort of not long after Ethan had arrived. It was like, even now sort of thing. It's you get home from work, then you do like the nursery run, and then you've got to feed the kid, and then you've got to feed yourselves, then you've got to do bath time for him, then you've got to like do the bedtime routines, and like literally it can be like 9:30, 10:00 before I actually like properly sit down to like have any of my own time. And it's just relentless. And the thing is, like, I can't even stay up late because he might wake up at like 6:00 in the morning or 5:00 in the morning. If I go to bed at 2 and he's up at that, at 5:00 in the morning, let's say, that's not going to be a very good day the following day. No. So I and obviously things have changed. A lot has changed for me, sort of thing. I'm very much more conscious of my health and things now. So I'm more conscious about trying to get a full, at least sort of 7 hours sleep a night if I can. So I tend not to sort of stay up too late if I can avoid it these days. Just because
I should say right now, I hate you, by the way.
Yeah, what trying to get
your 7 hours sleep?
Yeah, but the thing is, you have like you still manage to get videos done.
Well,
do you know what I mean? Like,
40
I just don't,
days since my last video.
Is it? Wow.
Yeah.
But you're still in that kind of difficult situation as well, though. Like, and I think obviously you've got a much younger kid. Like it for me, it took until Ethan was like 2 maybe to get like a bit more normality. I think up until that point, I felt like I kind of completely lost me. And I remember seeing somebody, I can't even remember which it was, some sort of Facebook group, but it was like, and it never really kind of dawned on me before Ethan arrived, but it was as soon as he'd arrived, it was like, right, your life is not yours anymore. Everything you do is for your child. Do you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
you work for your child, like you get home for, you're there to kind of look after your child. And it was like that was like a bit of an epiphany for me. And that was probably, I don't know, maybe 3-4 months after he was born. It's like, you not that I don't have an identity anymore, but ultimately my job in life now is to get him to a stage where he is sort of self-sufficient and is able to hopefully be a productive member of society and be hopefully a good person and things. So my entire my existence is to aim for that now,
Yeah.
which your I suppose your outlook as who you are as a person and what you're trying to achieve, like your priorities certainly have to change, don't they?
I agree with that. Yeah.
I definitely wouldn't have been able to carry on kind of doing what I was doing in terms of like hobby stuff. Being able to go to tournaments at weekends and things. 2-day tournaments for me normally are kind of out of it, but out the they're just not going to
Yeah.
happen.
Just
And
not happening.
I've got special dispensation for us to go to Bristol because the baby's arriving, and I'm probably not going to be able to do
You want
anything
me to do
for the
that? You want
next
me to do
like
that for another 2 years? Yeah.
3 years. Yes. And obviously with another one, it just again, I talk to a lot of people that have got more than one child. It's not as though it just kind of it's double the work. It's significantly harder having two
Yeah, I have a
than it
funny feeling it's
is.
harder to go from like 0 to 1 than one to two than it is 0 to 1. I can't
Yeah,
imagine like having another baby in like a year's time and having a 2-year-old running around
yeah,
at the same time. That must be
yeah. So
hard
I
work.
think, yeah, like he's, as I say, if he was any younger, like before he turned 2, he was like really hard work, and like not hard work in that sense, but just general toddler idiot type stuff, like walking into stuff and like opening
Yeah,
cupboard doors, and like you just felt like you had to have eyes in the back of your head constantly, and it was just really stressful. And again, like when you did, even if I did have time to go and do a little bit of hobby, I'd just be like so exhausted from running around after him for 3 or 4 hours after work or whatever, that I was just knackered. Do you know what I mean? And
hmm
it was the last thing on my mind. I just wanted to go to sleep. Whereas now he's a bit more chilled, a bit more relaxed and things. And I know obviously the bedtime thing is a bit of a difficult one, but it's not as though he is really, really hard work anymore. It feels like he kind of got to the stage of like he just got with the program sort of thing. So I think anybody that's got kind of 2 under the age of 2, man, my hat comes off to you.
yeah, yeah.
That must be
That's
really, really hard work. But yeah,
I think that's difficult. Yeah, I like we're still at the point now where he can now communicate what he wants a little bit, right? Like he
yeah,
obviously doesn't talk. He can go whatever, and he can make noises, and he's very clear. He can push your hand away or pull your hand or scratch your leg a little bit. He likes to flicky flick things. He likes to do that with everything. He just flicky flicks everything. No matter what it is, he likes to rolly spin. Yeah, he just does that all the time. Just flick. He can't do everything. He just flicks everything. So he might flicky flick your hand or your leg, and that means like hit me up or whatever. And he's really started getting this last week. Started getting into books, right? He picks up books. He just looks at you, goes, buh, buh, and lets you read it, and then you just read it, and he likes to pick up all the flappy pages or whatever, or like
oh
eat them,
yeah, yeah,
like they're all like that, like touch books or whatever.
yeah, yeah,
So he likes that, and then we have like flashcards, which obviously he can't understand the word unicorn, but I think they say like the more words you like introduce to them at a younger age, the better, right? So
yeah, yeah.
he likes to do all the flashcards. He has like annoyingly, it's got like capital letters and lowercase, so it's like 52 flashcards, and it's like A is ant, A is apple or whatever, and it's just like, and he likes to do every one, and he like picks out your hand and like looks at it and then puts it down. It's quite cute actually. Do you know what I mean? Like to
Yeah,
look
yeah.
at them
Just
all.
as a little look at it, it's like memorizing them,
Yeah,
sort of
yeah,
thing.
it's
It's like,
great.
yeah,
Like the stuff he learns are like songs, man. Like like songs and nursery rhymes and stuff. If you sing
yeah.
anything, you could be out, he'll just spin around and look at you because he knows like that bit or
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
whatever, something, Miss Rachel or whatever, right? I don't know. Like he
Oh
knows all
man,
those things.
there was one of like my like resounding memories of like Ethan was like have you heard you've probably heard it, the song "Wind the Bobbin Up." Wind the bobbin up,
Yeah,
wind
yeah.
the bobbin up, pull, clap, clap, clap. And I put that on the Miss Rachel one on is it Miss Rachel one? I can't remember. Like in the car, and like literally I looked in the rear view mirror. I could just see him doing like the actions like to himself sort of thing, and like clapping. And this was when he was like quite young. I was like, and the thing is, he never really shown any inclination for doing that at all. And like clearly, he just didn't like have an audience. And I was just there like, oh my god, he's actually doing something like clever. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
the thing is, he was a little bit like slow talking as well. So I remember like one of the in because he goes to nursery 3 days a week, and they came to us and he was like, oh, he's a bit slow on his speech, and he's not saying it, he's not saying that many like words or anything compared to his peers, and if he's not speaking by a certain age, we might have to sort of start like like with a bit of intervention to like try and help him and encourage him a little bit, and we were like really worried, like is he gonna talk? And
Yeah,
then all of a sudden, like now, like you can't shut him up, like, and he's picked up so many words, and like dinosaur names, and like I bought I'm really into like animal books and wildlife books and stuff like that. And I bought um a book recently called Fangs and Claws. This is completely off topic, this, isn't it? But
yeah,
never
yeah,
mind.
absolutely.
But like it's called Fangs and Claws, and it's got like predatory animals and stuff in it. And like we now like go through the book every night, like looking at all like the predatory animals. And it's like, oh, that's a hyena, that's a grizzly bear, that's a shark, that's an alligator, that's a great white shark, that's a sand tiger shark, and it's just amazing, like the vocabulary and things, and things that you like worry about, like at certain stages, like you're probably going through it now. It's like, oh, is he developing? Is he
Yeah,
like is he going to start walking? Oh, he's not showing any inclination of walking. It's like they all just do stuff at different pace, like a different pace, don't they? And like you really worry about stuff when they're small, but like they just pick it up. It's just
yeah.
crazy.
I definitely do go through that. Particularly early on, when you get all the scans and stuff, and you're like, you worry about things, right? Because you just
Oh
do.
yeah, totally.
And we Anders is a big lad, right? I think he's 98. I think he's 98th percentile. So
He's 5'2" already.
I think he wears like 2-year-old's clothes. So he's. I think his speech and like his alertness. We've been to quite a few. We get
like
a lot
sensory
of like
glasses and stuff.
No. We had like like pediatric stuff and like like doctor stuff. We got like consultants and stuff. We've had we've been referred a lot. That's it. Various things, because he had a few problems when he was born. And he had like hips, and when he was actually born, he like burst his lung on the way out, and so he was rushed straight to. He spent the first 4 days in NICU, which is like the like child. He was all like
Intensive care,
tubes and all that stuff. Yeah. So he had a few issues there, but now he was, because Kira, he was 3 weeks early because she had gestational diabetes. So that means like eventually the placenta and stuff started to break down, and it was all sort of failing. It was he had to come out, right, because his growth was happening to. He was 6 pounds when he came out. Presumably, had he gone full term and we'd not had the diabetes, I suspect he'd have been like a 10-pound baby.
Bigger. Yeah. He'd been a monster.
Yeah. So when he was born, he was like, we spent the first few days, they were desperate to try and get 50 million to him a day per feed.
Yeah, I remember you talking about
like,
this. Yeah.
Actually, they held him another day, so like he's just not taking it, and they kind of let us go at like 48 or something, But the first couple of weeks for us was like we had the midwife over a lot, being like, right, let's see the feed, because they were a bit worried about it. They went back a few times, and eventually, obviously, it's fine. And now he's just a big fat bastard. But he has no problem eating. Do you know what I mean? Like you say, all kids have different problems. So, like, I think his speech and his alertness are very good, and he eats very well. But he's like still not crawling, right?
Yeah.
He's recently started to make the effort to do things towards crawling, but he's nearly 10 months, like, and he's not, he's not crawling yet. So
all I'd say is like other than like people who've got like disabilities and things like that, even like all the idiot people I know how to walk. Do you know what I mean? So, like...
idiots can walk and stuff and talk.
So yeah, I don't know. Again, barring kind of any disability or something like that, everybody I know that can talk. So even if it's a little bit later coming, like, do you know what I mean? Like, it'll be fine.
I just think
I'm not going to get cancelled for saying that, though.
Idiots can talk.
Only idiots can't talk. Like, that's not what I mean. That, you knew what
I know what you mean. It's fine. It's fine. It's a joke. It's okay. It's a joke.
Yeah.
We're allowed
to say that.
But do you know what? So like we've done a bit of that. I feel like maybe what I kind of want to touch on this one a little bit was more like, and not as like selfish or anything, but like how it's affected you and how it's affected us. Like, not like, kids are great and they're tough and they're great and they're horrible and they're like, one thing I have learned is like, you do a wonderful day, but the kids will ruin it. Do you know what I mean? Like that's just like
Yeah,
like
you'll arrange something like really not to go and do something really nice, and then like a tantrum or some sort of kickoff will
whatever.
just
Yeah,
before we go, like we went to again, it's not a Warhammer race. We went like to National Trust like day out and to like a stately home and things. We were like, oh, this would be really nice. We'll have a bit of lunch there, and then like halfway around, like Ethan starts to get tired and like starts kicking off, and like he's really difficult, and then doesn't want to come in, and like doesn't want to go for lunch, just wants to play outside, and it's raining, and you're like, oh, it's just so much
yeah.
harder work than it should be.
We've tried doing so many nice things over the years, right? And they just get ruined. Now it's not everything, but like that's fine.
Yeah.
Kids are kids, babies are babies, stuff like that. And we
Yeah.
have ways, but I kind of want to touch more on what it's like, what it's been like for us and how our
Yeah,
journeys
yeah.
have been with it. Because I've been very fortunate really to have yourself and Lachlan and a few others, but mainly you two really to sort of to talk about stuff, because I think that's a big thing. When I found out, Kira's pregnant and we were having the baby, I went and got a book, and it's like Irish dads, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't so. It's not so much like a technical book. I did do a lot of research into that too. I felt I wanted to. It's more about a book about like people's experiences, and it's written by lots of people, and they all put in one point about what it was like for them when they found out they're pregnant. All the steps and stages from supporting your partner through pregnancy to whatever, right? And where we're at now, I think it's been a difficult journey, to be honest, for myself at various points. And I think I would say, particularly in the time and age we're in, like, we've got still on the backlash like COVID and stuff, and we're still lots of other things going on, right? Like the world in general can be quite difficult right now. And I think this is also a difficult thing. Do you know what I mean? Having a child is difficult for different reasons. And I feel like there's lots of pressures and stresses on. And I think like they say, like now we do a lot, like men do a lot with babies now. Dads do a lot with kids, right?
Yeah,
and stuff as well. So, I think that generationally it changes all the time, and what's expected, and
I think the expectation has definitely changed. Like my mum will regularly sort of say like, you've changed far more nappies than your dad ever did. Do you know what I mean? Like and like that's not a slight at my dad, but I think it's just like, it's just that the times have changed a little bit. Do you know what I mean? And I definitely think it's very much more sort of 50-50, with kind of how we parent and things. As I say, I tend to do a lot of the drop-offs and pickups from nursery and things now. And yeah, I think generationally it has very much sort of changed.
Course, everybody's situation is different, right? All of us, different work situations. Some stay-at-home dads and working mothers, both stay at home, both work, whatever. Or, single parents, single dads, single mums. Co-parenting, step-parenting, like so much stuff has changed from to what is now the norm. There is no like core norm now. There's so many different things that are normal for everybody now. So, but just from my own experiences, I'm very fortunate that I've actually got like Kira is. I genuinely think like an amazing mother. She's great. She's great at cook. She's a great like homemaker. We work as well. That's been another thing we've had to adapt. She was the manager basically at the store whilst I was doing the other stuff, and I lost that. So I've had to try and deal with the work stresses, and like we're now basically a one income household. Where the shop and myself and YouTube have to generate that income however we can. Where previously we weren't. That's changed, and like things are more expensive than ever. So I've really struggled at points this last 9 months or so, a year or so, mentally, I would say, and physically and health wise. Like I think I'm more unhealthy now. I don't mean just food, but like just generally. I sleep less, I exercise less, I eat worse. I've got I think I'm more stressed. And there's a lot more concerns and worries now than there ever been. And I think that takes its toll. And I'm at the point where it's been like 10 months of sort of not much sleeping,
constant worry as well.
Constant worry and constant stress. And I said at the start there, we're trying for a mortgage. Now we live in a 2-bed house with two of us, a baby and a 11-year-old. So, that's getting to be a concern.
Harder and harder. Yeah, absolutely.
Like at some point we want him in his own room, right? Like,
yeah, of course.
Certainly.
And the thing is that, that'll probably help him sleep better, and it'll help you sleep better as well, won't it?
We are still, our situation with him, we're still like 1 bottle a night. Sometimes 2 just for the comfort. I think he's the sort of comfort feeding, but that doesn't mean he just only wakes up once. And, I always felt when people say, "Oh, my kid goes to bed at 9 and he wakes up at 9." I'm like, oh, okay, but that doesn't mean he's asleep for 12 hours, right? Like
We
Anders
just
wakes up.
ignore him.
yeah, he's in another room. Like Anders wakes up multiple times throughout the night. So like sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes he sleeps straight through or has one bottle or no bottles. Sometimes he has two bottles and wakes up at 4 and is awake for 2 hours. Like, it's hard. It depends what mood he's in.
Yeah, totally.
So like that takes its toll. And I feel there's a lot of stresses. Like being self-employed or having the business has meant I've been afforded a lot more flexibility than others, right? I haven't had to just do 2 weeks paternity leave or 3 weeks now, I think it is, paternity leave and then back to work 9 to 5 and Kira's left on her own. That hasn't happened for us. But with that comes at a cost, right? I'm having to pay people to do things I would normally do, or I'm not able to do stuff I would normally do. So financially that's been difficult, but I wouldn't regret that. I'm never going to say in 10 years time or 18 years time, oh God, I wish I'd gone to work more.
No, nobody ever says that, do they? Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. And like, so it costs me an extra whatever a week. Fine, just don't buy whatever. So I've been very fortunate with that, and like yourself, I've been very involved in doing the routines and stuff. But with that, comes a lot of stress. And what am I trying to say here? I think I'm trying to say like I've struggled a lot mentally.
I think it's just such a huge adjustment. Like, as I said earlier, like, you all of a sudden, you've got this kind of like free time. And do you know what? It's one of those things that I really like. I'm annoyed at my past self for when I used to think, oh, I've got no time and things like yeah, exactly. I had so much time. Like when I see people that haven't got kids and they sort of say, oh, I haven't got the time to do that. It's like, mate, you can find the time. Like, that you just need to sort of like apply yourself a little bit. Like now I don't have the time, and like I'm just amazed that sometimes that like, oh my God, I actually got all that done today, which just boggles my mind sometimes. But your whole kind of outlook on life and things kind of changes. Like I think I remember sort of saying to you, like after he arrived, I remember like sitting there with him like in my arms. I was just like, right, I had like this, it was like the most bizarre, like not an out of body experience, but like it was like this moment of like, oh, I've done my job now. I've like procreated and created like my legacy, so I
can die now.
I can die now.
Oh, you got diabetes, great.
Oh yeah, it's like, oh thanks, yeah, perfect, thanks God. But there was very much that kind of like that moment of like I'm done now.
Yeah, you have job done.
But then there was that realization. It's like, oh, actually, I need to raise him to the age where he can make his own child, and then I know I've properly done it. Yeah. But yeah, it was just quite a profound, and I quite remember it. I think it was probably lack of sleep and like like all the hormones and endorphins and stuff that are going around your body, like when your newborn arrives. Things. I think there was just so much going on chemically and like in my body and things. It was just like my body just telling me to try and get some sleep, pretty much.
I struggled a little bit in those early months. Like I don't really remember the first 2 weeks. Kira and I were chatting about it the other day. Like she had a C-section, so she was a little less mobile than obviously intended. So I did a lot. I still do, but I did a lot early on. But we were saying that we don't really remember like what we did in the first 2 weeks, right? It's just you were up constantly. You're just
I think you just sit around and sleep when you
survive.
can.
You just survive, right?
Yeah.
I think those first few months are just survival, right? Just whatever you need to do to live. And I've tried to not be hard on myself. Like I'm not in the shape I want to be. I'm not doing the things I want to do. But you know what? Like I just need to stay alive. Like and I'm still sort of there.
Just sort of alive, barely.
Yeah, but like do you know, I think it took me a couple of months really. I remember Googling a lot of things. A lot of times I Googled like, have I ruined my life, right? Having a baby, has it ruined my life? And if you type that in, you'll see like hundreds,
so many
thousands,
people like,
millions of that has been Googled. And everyone's like, no, don't worry about it. It's just like you started now. I don't feel like that now. But I'd say in the first while, when I was like a month, I was like, oh my God. And actually what I didn't feel initially was like, I didn't initially feel like, oh wow, I'm like, well, I remember you telling me that, like, oh, you've like done it. I didn't feel that. And I was like, oh God. I remember Googling, like, am I like wrong?
Different.
Do you know what I mean? Am I broken or whatever? And it's like, no. And then it took a couple of months. It took like him to like smile or something. I was like, oh, do you know what?
I think the difference obviously with you is obviously, Kira had a C-section, small coming out. He was in NICU for how long was it? 4 days. Do you know what I mean? And like, whereas Ethan, like, literally, he got dragged out with forceps round his head, and like he was in my arms within like, a couple of minutes of being out. Do you know what I mean? And I think there was that like kind of closeness sort of straight away. I think that probably there's something hormonally that kind of goes
Maybe.
on there. Do you know what I mean? So, the human body's a crazy thing. Like, obviously there's that all these survival instincts and stuff that just kind of kick in, and stuff that we probably can't rationalize really. Obviously it's there to sort of try and kind of keep us from eating our babies, pretty much.
Yeah, I think so. But it's been a real journey. So I've gone through highs and lows like that, right? Where I thought, am I wrong? Am I broken? Or do I feel wrong about something? Along with concerns then about stuff. And I still want to make sure I'm a good partner for Kira, and I want to make sure she's okay, because there's a lot of, like, postnatal depression's a thing, and we still had normal life to do, and we've still got, at the same time, to be fair, I don't mind saying that, Kira's mum got diagnosed with cancer like 2 months before the baby was born. My dad had like a double heart attack and had like 8 bypasses. So it was a pretty like weird.
Oh, it's a grim time for you guys, wasn't it?
It was a pretty weird time. And at the time, work was like extra busy because it was knocking on from Christmas through to New Year, when the pregnancy stuff. But when like the baby was born, he went straight away. I saw him cut the cord, and then he went, and then literally 2 seconds later, Kira went. I spent about 45 minutes on my own, just in the cubicle, not knowing like if Kira or the baby are okay. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, you got to go now. She needs help. He needs help. And they came back, and I was like, oh Jesus! But like the actual experience for the pregnancy wasn't good. No, it wasn't good. It was pretty bad. It wasn't a good C-section either. And so it's a lot of like problems happened, and it was difficult. So maybe that has an effect on, like you say, an immediate bonding or something. I don't know. But then maybe that's just me. But I'm sure there are millions of people out there who felt the same way I did, who felt the same way you did, who felt whatever. And what I've learned to realize is it's totally normal.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, you didn't eat him, so it's fine. Evolution did its thing.
I'd struggle to eat him now, to be honest. He's massive.
You'd have to have a good few sittings if you did try.
It's a Christmas turkey. Do you know what I mean? Bigger. So, what I really want to get this one is, I want to make sure.
So we've gone on for like literally an hour, and we've not really talked about kind of Warhammer at all. But I think it's important to kind of set the scene for kind of our relationship with our children, and kind of how it's affected us so far, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think I'm not even just thinking about Warhammer, right? I'm just sort of, I just want to make sure other people out there who have kids on the way, or who are feeling things, or experiencing things.
I've got young kids and things. Yeah,
totally don't feel bad about anything, and don't feel bad about yourself. And I think you've got to learn to, like, I've tried to learn to give myself a break. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't be so hard on myself. I can't do everything. There aren't the same 24 hours to everybody, right? Like, between work and baby and house and kid, it's 7 a.m. till 10 p.m., right? And then it's still throughout the night, plus whatever work I need to do. So, like, when we finish this, it's going to be gone midnight. I'm probably going to have to do pre-orders for tomorrow. Got to finish editing that video. Then I'm up to, you know what I mean? Like, that's just life. So, like, I don't want people to feel bad about whatever situations they're in, because
I totally
we're all in this. We all have our own problems, but we're all in a similar situation, really.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's bring it kind of back to Warhammer to some extent. And so how would you feel like your relationship with the hobby has kind of changed since Anders has arrived?
So I feel like my relationship with the hobby has changed multiple times throughout, from having YouTube then into the shop. So I feel like it's very much work, right? And what I was hoping, what I was under the illusion, the fallacy that I was going to like have all this time, right? They just sleep, so you can just paint, right? That was kind of what people sort of said. You'll have hours, you'll find time, and maybe I could have found time, but I didn't. And hobby now, shit. What is the last thing I've painted that hasn't been under like a time stress?
Yeah.
To like, I can't just sit and pick up a paintbrush for an hour. I literally don't get an hour in a row without filming a video for it. So my relationship with hobby has broken down quite a lot, really. I get very little joy now. I don't find it relaxing, because I'm constantly on edge.
Yeah.
Personally. So I'm struggling, but I know I'm a lot earlier on in the process than you are. And you seem to this last couple of months, or maybe the last couple of months, couple of weeks, couple of months, you seem to have found your foot again a little bit.
So like,
you stepped off there a year there. You seem to have come back.
Yeah, I think it was just, again, a little bit like you, and I think the whole YouTube side of it kind of really does play into it as well. Like, you do, we've said we're going to do a YouTube episode at some stage as well. But you do feel that kind of pressure that if you're painting something, you should be filming it, because that should be content. That's time that you're
It's a
spending.
waste.
It's a waste if you're painting something and it's not for a video. And it's kind of breaking that kind of, for me, it's kind of, I've broken that sort of cycle a little bit. And actually, do you know what? I just want to paint stuff for me, like, painting these Royal Guard. There's no video in it, really. I don't think anybody really wants to. I can't see an angle that anybody would really want to watch. And again, like, moving the camera around and like making sure things are in focus, it kind of takes a lot of that joy out for me. And like, whereas last night when I got all these guys base coated, I went to bed and I was like really excited about just being like, oh, I've almost finished these guys. Do you know what I mean? And that gave me like the same sort of feeling of excitement sometimes as like finishing a video does. So I was like, it's kind of still ticking that it's giving me that kind of like endorphin, that kind of little boost, something, that little reward, without me having to film it. So that was kind of quite nice. So yeah, I think I will come back to, I've got some videos that I need to finish and things anyway. But I think, I'll get those videos finished this side of the baby arriving. I think when the second baby arrives, I think it will be something, a decision that I have to sort of make, just to, because it's all, even if you say, oh, I'm just going to take a break from it, it's still there, kind of like in your ear, sort of like, oh, you should be making a video. Oh, you should be filming this. And if that's always in my ear, I think it's always going to remove some of that enjoyment of the hobby for me to some extent. So it might be something that I just sort of say, look, I'm just going to stop doing YouTube. I really enjoy doing this. Like, this is part of my kind of hobby at the moment, doing these podcasts sort of things. So, I don't want this to go away, but these are quite, we've said it before, relatively easy to film compared to some of the videos that it might take us 3 hours an hour to get like three or four shots.
Sorted.
Do you know what I mean? Like, to get cameras and everything set up. Whereas this is like, it's all kind of easy to set up and stuff. So yeah, I think that's what has been the biggest change for me, and I think forcing myself to come and do it as well. Like, whereas before I sort of think, oh, I need sort of like 2 hours to go and do a bit of hobby. If I'm going to do some hobby, I need like a set 2 hours.
That's how I feel.
Like, and whereas, and I think sometimes you almost like, I don't need it. Like, I can just, if I've got stuff set up ready, like I've got a wet palette, so the colors that I mixed yesterday ready to go, my paintbrushes are out, like the colors that I'm using are out, I can just pick up and like I can just do a load of metallics on them, or like tomorrow, after I've done this, I'm going to just put some washes down, and then tomorrow I can come back and like and highlight the metallics or something, and that might take me half an hour to just highlight some of the metallics, and that'll be the next step done. Do you know what I mean? I think previously I always liked to paint things from like almost start to finish in one sitting, and if I didn't, I felt like it was almost like a bit of a failure. Whereas now I think just kind of that little bit, just getting that little bit done every day, is really kind of ticking boxes for me. So I'm
your advice to
it.
like to me, like, or someone like me, or someone who's just had a baby, or just 6 months in or a year in, is that what you would say? Have preparation is
yeah. So I think we talked a little bit about it, but it's kind of having stuff good, like ready to go, so you don't have to set up like. I say I'm literally able to walk in the door, and since I put the curtain up, which I'm banging on about again, but like it's warm in here as well. Whereas previously it was like a bit cold when I walked in, then I felt like I had to put the heater on and it wouldn't warm up for like half an hour. And then by that time it's like, oh, I should just go in now. Whereas now I've got into this kind of like really good routine of just being able to come out, like, right, I'm just whack down 2 colors, or get this step finished, or even I don't even have to do it on all across all the models. I can just like paint one little bit on one model, and that's a little bit done for the day. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I think my kind of philosophy, I think, going into it and having a second child is just find that little 15 minutes when I can, just so I don't kind of lose entirely. Like, I don't want to just kind of have it just be pushed to the side as something. It's something I do get a lot of pleasure out of, and actually the last couple of weeks has reminded me of that. I do get a lot of pleasure out of it, and it's that kind of little sense of achievement that actually I painted a little bit more today. So I think that's one thing that I really want to kind of keep going once the second baby arrives as well. Just find that little 15 minutes as and when I can, and just get a paintbrush out and put a color down. It's not going to be the best painted stuff, but it's painting.
I would say that's probably my biggest barrier right now, right? Is that like I probably get 10, 15 minutes every now and then, where I can do stuff. But if it takes me 10 minutes or 15 minutes to set up, by the time I've set up,
Yeah.
I've got to go. Like something's
Yeah.
happened or the baby's crying or whatever. So that's probably it. That's probably the trick, I think, is maybe I need to bring like 5 models home or something that I want to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
And just go, right, today I'm just going to do a bit of red now. And okay,
Yeah.
got a bit of red. I'm actually trying to help Kira finish off a model of hers. And I found if we work together, Kira and I, on stuff, we can get things finished. So sort of painting a model together is actually kind of something we're finding is working for us. But like I might bash out some airbrushing, and then I'll take the baby for 10 minutes, and she can do what. Do you know what I mean?
She could do like the Aquila
whatever,
on the front
the metal
of,
stuff. Yeah. We're finding that's working because we've got a few projects obviously we need to be doing. So that's something that's working for us right now. Obviously, I'm fortunate that Kira is into the hobby and can paint and stuff. But certainly, like painting stuff together, we're finding not only are we do different things. Like I'm more likely to like do all the base coats, right?
Yeah.
She loves doing like lovely skin
The
and stuff.
intricate details.
She gets bored of the rest. So what tends to happen is I might like do a bit of stuff. She'll do the intricate bits, and then she gets bored, and she's like, right, I need to finish it. I'm like, okay, right, give me that model. Bang a load of colors in, get some browns and get some reds on. Now you can go back and do the highlighting done. So that seems to be sort of the way we're working, which might be for me, for now, the sort of the foreseeable future of how to paint
a good way to
models.
Yeah. No,
And
definitely.
at least that way I can buy myself 10, 15 minutes and we're doing something.
Yeah. No, definitely. And I think the other big thing for me is I don't play anywhere near as often as I used to. So previously, I started going. We used to have, I think it was on a Monday night. There was my local gaming club, which is like where I live now. It's literally a 10-minute walk down the road, which is really frustrating. On the Thursday night, there's a Middle Earth night at Element Games, and it's really popular, and loads of people go. But it's just really difficult to. Obviously, you do the bath time, bedtime routines. My wife does sort of condensed hours, so she kind of works 8 till 6, and then so by the time she gets home it's 6:30, and then by the time we've kind of had dinner and things it's 7:30. Then by the time he's had a bath and going to bed it's 8, 7:30, and then there's just not enough time for me to go down and get a game. So unfortunately at the moment it's just something that isn't gonna work for me. And even like going to sort of tournaments and things, unless there's like a obviously like doubles or something like that, getting away to tournament, unless it's like a one day or something, is just it's really difficult. And as I said earlier, like weekends are really valuable to me, and although as much as I enjoy going to tournaments, I do enjoy having my weekends with my kid. So I never sort of think, when I've had a weekend with Ethan, I never think, oh, I wish I was at that tournament this weekend. I've never really kind of had that feeling. Don't get me wrong, if I was at the tournament, I'd probably be like, oh my God, I'm having a great time here.
Yeah, this is amazing.
This is amazing. But I don't ever kind of regret the choice that I've made, if that makes sense. I love spending time with him and things. So, I think that has kind of changed significantly for me, is kind of how many games I get in. Like now, I'm lucky if I kind of get, other than obviously us going away for the weekend or something, other than maybe getting 6 or 7 gaming nights in throughout the year. Every couple of months, like one of my mates will come over, or I'll go over to his house with a box of terrain and a couple of armies. We'll play a couple of 500-point matches or something like that. Other than that, I don't really play an awful lot these days. So it would be nice to play a little bit more, I think. But just at the moment, it's just timing wise, it's just almost impossible.
That's something I've realized. You know what make my life easier is if like I could play a game in my house, right?
Yeah.
I don't think people realize just how like maybe if you haven't got kids or whatever, I never really used to think about it, but like just how like all encompassing that is, right? So like for me to go somewhere for a weekend, we're playing this event, right? It's 3 nights away. That's a lot on Kira to do, plus the shop and everything else as well. That's 3 nights away to come play. Now, obviously, that's fine. We can do these things, and she could go and do stuff. Do you know what I mean? And that's okay. Yeah. But like, it's a big commitment, right? It's not because not only am I actually got to come to the tournament, I've also got to fly either side. So for me, anything for me coming to the UK takes 2 extra days, right? Has to be Friday to Monday to be there Saturday, Sunday. I can't really fly in and out the same days, rarely. And like, but if people came to like my house, right, and I've got a kitchen table there with terrain and miniatures, I can play a game, and it might be slightly broken up. Kira can hold the baby about. It might just go all hell breaks loose. And I can walk off for 10 minutes and say whatever and have a beer. But like, that's easier. So if you have got a friend out there who's like struggling to get out and play games, who's got a kid or a baby, man, go round. I'd happily have a pack of 6 beers,
Yeah,
a
yeah.
game of Warcry, Kill Team, or Skyrim, or Fallout, or something small, skirmishy on the table, or Thousand Woods, or Combat Patrol, or Spearhead, or whatever, and sit and play
Yeah,
that for an
something
hour.
small that you can play on the table, and that's the thing. Like, normally it may be a couple of hours that we get on like a Saturday night or something. We'll if I'm on my way over, we'll stop and get a few beers on the way, or something. And it's just nice, and it kind of it's very sort of chilled. There's no, don't get me wrong, we both get sort of quite into it, and sort of, but we don't necessarily play like uber competitive armies. We don't play kind of meta armies or anything like that.
You
It is
beardy
just,
bastard.
we
Yeah,
just
there you
literally
go.
play like, what looks cool. Oh, it's like, oh, we've not used that before, so I've put a list together that includes, I don't know, like the Spider Queen or something like that. That doesn't exist in the rules anymore, but
Just a casual what looks cool, like the Dragon Emperor and Axe Dudes, and
oh
that
yeah,
like
exactly,
just a
yeah,
nice
yeah.
casual list. Do you know what I mean? That's
Just
all
a
it
nice,
is.
yeah, nothing beardy at all in that. Yeah, double bears. That
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
I played one game with that, and I was like, this is too good. This is, and I've never played a game with them since.
Yeah.
Like, I played one game with them and invested quite heavily into that army, because the bear on its own is like 40 quid, and then I can't remember how many packs of dudes, like 8 packs of dudes makes like a 700 point list or something, and the dudes are like, I don't know, 20, like 23, 24 pounds for a pack of 3. So like, I spent quite a lot on that army, and I played it once,
Yeah.
and it was just too
It's too
good.
good. Yeah.
So I was just like, I can't play this in like casual settings, like,
Yeah.
because it's just oppressive to play against.
Yeah.
It's like, the dudes don't even do anything, just send bears forwards, just to
Yeah. Have bear.
wreck face, like, so yeah, like, it is all kind of like really, and that's kind of like what I'm, when I paint stuff now, that's what I'm thinking about, is like getting like playing with those games to, getting a couple of new armies together to be able to play
That's
those games. Do you know what I mean? That kind of 6 or 7 times a year that we managed to get together. That's what I'm working towards.
that's why I'm really liking, and I'm hoping. I've got a box video I'm going to do for Skyrim, right, for the intro box. So once I've
Yeah,
kind of got that done, I like I can. There's loads of other characters that I'm never going to do a video on. But like, can I just paint them for fun now? Then, do you know what I
yeah.
mean?
Well,
Like
that's the thing. Like,
characters,
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
get the content bit done, and I can just go there. I paint all these as well, so like I can just sit at home and be like, oh, today I'm going to paint Lydia or whatever. I'm going to paint, you know,
yeah,
Sven
yeah,
or any of the cool characters from Skyrim. It's the same. That's why I like that Marvel and Shatterpoint right now, because the only
yeah,
times I get to play is when I'm working. But if I'm working and I've got I have like a demo table downstairs. If it fits on that table, I can play it.
yeah, yeah,
Um, as long as my opponent knows I'm going to like bugger off when customers come in, which is frequently or whatever. But
yeah, yeah.
hope for a dead day, make no money, but get to play Marvel Protocol. So it's like, it's
Yeah,
win-win,
yeah.
isn't
Was
it?
it like sort of three, four models, and
Yeah,
each
yeah.
side sort of thing, and like, yeah,
I only play the Avengers because I just like the Avengers. So I
yeah,
just
yeah.
play that. I just play what's cool. Same with Star Wars. I just play the cool ones. Skyrim. We haven't got many people play Skyrim, but
I
like,
popped
that's it.
into Element Games the other day, and they did have like some of the Shatterpoint boxes. I've got the starter box paint, all the characters from that, but I was like looking at some of the other boxes, like, some really cool boxes here. Like, but I was like, I can't
You got
justify it
them
right
painted, have you? The
now. I've got
Shatterpoint ones.
way too much. Yeah, yeah, it's all painted.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah, I painted them a while ago. Um, have I got them all painted? No, I haven't. I tell you, the only ones that I've not got painted are the Mandalorians. Everybody else is painted.
The Borrelorians. Yeah, that's fine.
But yeah, the Borrelorians. But no, I've got those. I've got all
Oh,
painted.
nice.
But yeah, I can't. We kind of gone completely off track again. But
Wait, so
but
yeah,
yeah, it kind of
let's pull it
it's about
back.
it's about kind of finding the time to sort of play those little games and things, rather than, and finding a way to be able to play those games, because I prior to COVID, really, and things, I was going to tournaments maybe every 6 weeks or so. I'd go to a tournament, and I'd be away for like the two nights. And in between, if there was like local 1 day tournaments, I'd go to those as well. And
That was before YouTube and before Child, right?
yeah, exactly. Before YouTube, before Child, before moving house, that it's like it's a different life back
A
then.
younger you, yeah.
A younger you had more hair, less stress, less diabetes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think life definitely definitely has changed, and I've kind of come to terms with the fact that and again, I think one of my naivety a little bit with having a child, I still sort of thought it in my head that I would be able to go away for weekends and things, whereas now it's not that I could go away for weekends, more weekends probably, but I kind of don't want to. I enjoy my weekends, as I said, so it's kind of that.
I live a little differently because I don't really like my weekends are Mondays and Tuesdays. Right? I work every other day, so Saturday's like just obviously the busiest day of the week really for me. So I have Mondays, Tuesdays off, so I don't really have that same thing, and I kind of have a bit of flexibility with when I employ someone, obviously when they work to sort of. But then being self-employed, you don't really get a day off at all. So it's kind of a very different mix, right? A different layout to that. But I feel like like you think. Pre-COVID, pre-baby, all those things, like the things you could do in the time you had.
Exactly.
That's also not to say actually, like, if you don't have kids, you have more time because there's also other stresses then, right?
Yeah, of course there are. Your priorities are totally different, aren't they?
It's the priorities, that's it. And it's not to say it's better or worse, you just have different priorities. I think for me right now, I'm at the point probably with this where I feel like I've like lost myself and my identity entirely, right? Like what's the last thing I did really for me?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Maybe managed to watch 15 minutes of Liverpool football match. It's that's really hard. So me going away this next couple of days is good for that, right? Doing music and stuff, because that's something I'm passionate about and enjoy. But at the same time, it comes with it's my first time away, really. Like I won't be doing the bath routine. I won't be doing whatever. So they're kind of things like, he loves to see like Dada. Do you know what I mean? He loves that. So
of course. But you get that. That's like so rewarding, isn't it? Can I just can I remind you of something? Do you remember like before he arrived and you went and recorded last time?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember you came back and you're like, oh yeah, we're thinking about going on tour in November and trying to find and I was there thinking like, that will absolutely never happen. But I don't want to ruin your dream.
We did none of it. It's taken a year for us to get back together. Literally, the last time I was there, Anders wasn't born. Like it was February,
exactly
last year.
And I just remember you saying that. It's like, oh yeah, planning on going on tour and like we'll do this. And I was like, that's not going to happen. That'll never happen.
Maybe next year.
But anyway,
I've learned that now. So I feel like I've lost like my entirety as my personality as a human being for now. So I'm hopefully looking at you sort of happier in the future. Gives me a little hope.
Exactly. And I'm just resetting the clock.
I forget you fucked it now.
6 months time, I'm resetting the clock again, and it starts all over.
Then
again.
you'll be looking at me going, "Wow, look at him! Look at him!
My God, he's so happy and all this time on his hands.
He's lost loads of weight.
Doesn't he look healthy and not on the verge of dying?
We'll look back at these podcasts and be like, "Oh my God, look at me!" That's the most depressing thing. I'm going to say this: we have to do the YouTube episode because talking about this has reminded me so much about things I wanted to bring up. I've avoided saying them here because I want to say them in YouTube. But there's I had like a killer comment I wanted to make, but I didn't. But I looked back at earlier videos of me on YouTube, and it's the most depressing thing ever. I was 2.5 stone lighter. I'd never been fitter, tanned, young, healthy, happy. Right? What happened? So we'll set up the YouTube episode. But man, I will look back at this and we'll be like, oh. Just in case you ever listen to this, Anders, but I do love you very much. But,
I love you too, Ethan.
But you've kind of ruined my life right now. So
when you have your own child, you'll understand one day.
That's it. In 35 years' time or whatever, you'll figure it out. You'll go, yeah, Dad did all right, So that's all we can do. We can just do our best. And no matter where you are, what you're doing out there, do leave us comments. Let us know your experiences as well, good and bad. If you feel you need to have a chat, we're here. I think this is one of the ones I'll be on top of the comments on because I feel like
it'd be nice to see what other people's experience.
And I feel like it's something I really want to use my I don't sound like an arsehole, but use my platform for awareness of it or something.
To advocate for.
I feel quite passionately about that, and I've not really gone into detail here in the things I maybe would like to, but that might be a different platform altogether. But I'd very much like to do something like that. I feel I've struggled a lot for various reasons.
Let's set up a charity.
Something like that. That's what I want to do. Do you know what I mean? Dadhammer.
Extra workload.
Just finally finish me off. Yeah, that'll do it.
I do know. I know exactly what you mean. But do you know what? I almost feel like it. I don't know, like admitting that you're kind of depressed and like struggling and things is like such a hard thing to do. But I think we've mentioned it in previous videos, like when like you or I or Lachlan, like when one of us is struggling, like you can kind of tell, and like normally like we'll send each other a message and go like, everything all right this week? You've been very quiet. What's going on? And like I think this week obviously you've been poorly, and I've been here, there, and everywhere with work and things, and it's been a bit of a difficult week for us all to kind of like just chat anyway. But it's been noticeable, sort of thing, if that
Yeah,
makes sense.
you can feel it, can't you? Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that can't be a unique experience for us as like a little friendship group, sort of thing. Like that
No.
has to be something that every other dad out there, or well, not even dads, but other
Mums,
people out there
people.
kind of like
Yeah.
feel. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, and I don't know, like I don't. It's something I feel kind of sort of passionate about, because having at times kind of really sort of struggled, especially kind of around like the health stuff, like in particular over the last couple of years, has really like had a massive impact on me. I don't feel like I'm the, I don't know, like some people have had it way way worse than me, so I
Well,
feel like I'm not the sort of person that I feel like I can't really complain about my life, because actually so many other people's has been so
yeah,
much
and
worse. Do you know what I
that's it.
mean? But
I put a post out actually a while ago, last 6 months ago, 8 months ago, so on Instagram. Basically, it was like I think it was very lightly. I was trying to say to people like, I was actually feeling very grateful to have you and Lachlan to talk to a lot,
mm,
and I think that was kind of what I meant, was like, like I'm struggling, but I'm fortunate to do go and talk to people, and I got a huge response really on Instagram, which is what
yeah,
kind of made me think about it. And like I said that in the post. I actually said I'm not really, not say of the generation, but not really of like the upbringing to like to talk about stuff like that. Right? I don't really
mm.
say like, oh, I'm feeling a bit sad today. Like, very much just like shut up and get on with it, right? Like I don't take days off work when
I
I'm sick, and I know you're the same, right? Like you just
Yeah, I think we yeah, but when we were kind of growing up, I think we were at that kind of very transformative age where it was kind of starting to become like acknowledged that people do have
struggled.
kind of mental health issues, sort of thing. Whereas before it was like, oh yeah, that person's mental. Do you know what I mean? It
Yeah,
was whereas it was
a lot
kind
of
of
stigma, right,
starting
attached
to,
to it.
yeah, and it was kind of, that person's off work, mental health issues,
Yeah,
they're a weirdo. Do you know what I mean? Whereas now it's just kind of accepted that people might struggle, and it's not something that, I wouldn't say that I struggle all the time, but there's
no,
certainly certain times where all of a sudden you just sort of like, right, do you know what, actually I'm really not doing well at the moment. I feel like I need a bit of time. And I think as before children, you do sometimes have that bit of freedom to be able to give yourself that time to
mm.
to yourself. Whereas
Do what
as
you need
soon
to
as you
do, go
become a
recover,
yeah,
whatever.
and you can sort of like switch off. Like, don't get me wrong, you still need to kind of go to work, or you still, the responsibilities that you've got, you still kind of need to do that. Whereas as soon as you become a dad or a parent, that those responsibilities don't go away. Like, it's not as though you can kind of take a couple of weeks off being a parent. Do you know what I mean? That
Mm.
you still have to do everything for that little
That while, yeah, yeah,
child
it
that
doesn't
is
stop,
like,
right?
that's
It doesn't
reliant on
stop.
you. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think I've gone slightly off track there again.
No,
But
no, totally.
um,
I think that's on track. I think that's it.
yeah,
So that's what I'm trying to say. Like, is for comments and stuff. So I hope we haven't really gone into everything I would have gone into, and we've tried to sort of come back on topic a little bit. It's an interesting one to talk about because it's so broad, right? Like
yeah,
parenting,
totally.
parenting and Warhammer and it's all kind of all meshes together, and I think we all have different journeys with it as well and different experiences. So do let us know in the comments, your experiences, your journeys, your tips, anything that helps you hobby, anything that helped you, your top 3 dad tips, or you're expecting, or any questions you got, any concerns. Because like I felt like all of a sudden, once I'd got through those first couple of months, people were coming to me saying, "Oh, how was that?" And I'm like, "Oh, I can help you a little bit." Like, it's advice,
Yeah,
you take it or you leave it, right? And there's always a lot of advice out there, and some of it doesn't
mm.
work with you. And we all have things that work differently, right? And people, there's no judgment on my side. You do what you need to do that works for you and your family, right? Or
Yeah,
yourself or
totally.
your kids, and that's the main thing. So, but if you've got problems out there, or you're struggling, or you're expecting, or you're worried about stuff, or you're having a good time, let us know, right? Because like ultimately, like I find I'm up and down. I'm kind of like that as a person anyway, right? I could be quite
Mm.
highs and quite lows, and I recognize it in myself. but certainly like adding babies and stuff into the mix makes that a little more difficult. Like I say, you have to do stuff, right? I can't just bugger off, really. Like for
you can't shut down, like
yeah, that's what it. Yeah, he needs whatever he needs. Like he has to go rock to bed or whatever. So those things happen no matter how you're feeling. But there's things you can do to make that easier.
Help,
and so like Warhammer's a good space. I think that's the one advantage I think to Warhammer is it's a good space full of like-minded folk who are probably of the similar age or ilk or going through the same sorts of things. And that's one thing I've been very grateful to you. So I will say that. Thank you to you really for being around for the last like year or two. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I was going to say the same. Like, it would have been a very, I think it would be far more difficult sort of time really without being able to sort of speak to you guys and friends and things about it, and just kind of having like, again, like not necessarily a solution, but just somebody to sort of listen and say, yeah, man, it's right. Shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, actually, don't tell me it's going to be right. So it's going to be shit, and it's fine. It is a bit shit sometimes.
But it's But we all
if you're in like the early stages, I'm finding it very much more rewarding now. I'm finding having a baby now way more rewarding. Like I like to see him and stuff now, and like I'm starting to find a little bit of time to do these podcasts and videos and stuff now. So it's taken me 9 months for here, but I think I'm starting to find a bit of time back to myself again to do a few bits. So it does come back, right? And you're further down the line until you reset the clock. You're getting your 15 minutes of enjoyment now until you don't get any again.
Yeah, again, like I think maybe it's kind of rose tinted glasses and things. There's like, I can definitely find 15. Like, I'd like to think that I can find these little 15-minute like pockets. Like, if I'm cooking dinner, just have it out on the side, like do a little bit of painting whilst I'm cooking dinner. Do you know what I mean? Like, well, maybe not washing dishes, but like waiting for potatoes to boil or something. Like, that's 15 minutes where I can do. What's totals, precious? What's totals, all? But yeah, I think it's about kind of just finding that little bit of time to kind of keep doing it, and I'd like to think that I can keep it going, but we'll see.
But go easy on yourself where you are.
Yeah,
right?
but again, like
no
not
pressure,
putting pressure.
No stress.
I think that was something that I definitely did put on myself, like after Ethan had arrived. I was like, right, I need to carry on doing YouTube stuff. I need to keep putting out banger videos. I still need to and actually for me now, like my priority is my family and things. Everything else can kind of wait for the time being. Even like the hobby, really, like, don't get me wrong, I am enjoying it and I get a lot of pleasure from it, but that's purely for me. But I find that the time that I am investing is not at a detriment to my family or my family life, if that makes sense.
That's very good. That's what that's the right kind of thing. I like that. Should we wrap it up there? Should we call it there?
I think so.
I could talk like another 2 hours about this, but I don't know if people want to listen to that. It's the longest episode we've done yet.
I think it is. Yeah.
Did you know what? We'll wrap it there. So everybody, thank you all for listening and joining us on this journey and for listening to our stories. And I hope you yourselves, no matter what position you're in, can relate or can offer some advice or whatever. So do leave comments down below. I don't really care about the algorithm on this one. I more care about people. So, so no matter where you're coming from, leave us a comment below. I hope you took something from it and enjoyed listening to us here. Ben, do you do the rest now? You're good at this bit.
I'm going to do a little bit of a shameless self sort of plug here. We do have a Patreon. So if you do want to kind of support us, there are some costs associated to this podcast. I did get the lamp behind me replaced.
Oh yeah, I haven't got the headphone.
You haven't got the headphone replaced, but we're kind of getting there. But we do have a Patreon, so if you do want to support us in any way, then you kind of can do on there. Depending on your tier, you can kind of help guide our podcasts. Give us topic suggestions, ask us questions, things you'd like kind of to get our take on, which we would include in episodes as well. And you've got access to a private Discord where you can chat to us. And I think on that note, we will wrap everything up.
Ben's got a baby on the way. So
I've got a baby on the way.
Help.
You need to move house. So
Yeah,
we do
help.
kind of need we kind of do need that help a little bit. But yeah, any support that you guys can offer,
Of
just
course.
even just your viewership is really valuable to us. But yeah, give us a subscribe as well, because we'd love to get to that 1,000 subscribers. But on that note, thank you guys so much for watching. We have been Side
Side
Quest
Quest Podcast.
Podcast. Well, that was rubbish yet again. We say we're going to practice it, but we never do. So it's always going to be probably rubbish.
That was you that ruined that one, to be fair. So
I
that
think it
on
was.
you.
I think it was you, but never mind. Anyway, thank you so much for listening, and we will catch you guys in the next episode, which will hopefully be out a week today. See you later.
Take care.